And we did a tutorial of drawing terms first the other day, and so we're going to do another one that is just a great way to kind of see figure out how to use your pencil. Again, we're just using a piece of paper, could be any piece of paper you have, and a yellow 2B pencil. What we're going to make today is a grayscale. In class we've done color wheels and to help us see color. Today what we're going to be making is a grayscale to help us see value in gray. So it's going to have, on one end, it's going to be like a long skinny rectangle. On one end it's going to have darker gray and get lighter and lighter and lighter. Let me turn my camera. Okay. All right, so just at the top, let's just label it so we know what we're doing. We're going to say grayscale. Now you can make your darker part at the left or the right, but I think I'm going to make it at the left because when you're drawing, your hand, oftentimes this part of your hand will smudge your paper, and you don't really want that. First of all, your hand gets like super messy, and you make smudges all over your paper. So I think I'm going to make the darker part on this side, and we're just going to make a long skinny rectangle. It doesn't even have to be that big, it can be smaller. For this one, my paper is horizontal today. So make your long skinny rectangle. You just go over it so it's darker and you guys can see it. All right. So at this side, I'm going to make it a darker gray than over here. So over here, I'm going to just very lightly touch my pencil to the paper. During the last exercise with the tutorial of drawing terms, I did mention that the way drawing works is that you lay lines over top of each other to get a darker value. And that's totally true. When you're doing something that's very, very light, then you can also hold your pencil lighter and not touch the paper as hard. But for dark values, instead of pressing hard, because if you press hard on the paper, it's going to make an indentation in the paper, and you don't want that. So it's just using the same weight the whole time. For this, I'm just going to make, I'm going to do the cross-hatching technique. You can use any of the techniques that we did the last time for this. So you pick which one is your favorite. You could do hatching. You could do cross-hatching, which is the one I'm going to do, a bunch of lines over in different directions. You could do stippling. You could do scribbling, scumbling, or erasing. But I'm going to do cross-hatching. So I'm going to do a bunch of lines together like this. I'm going to go back over top of it. Can you see that? Let me make it a little less bright. I'm going to go back over top. Again, I'm laying lines on top of each other. I'm not pressing any harder. I'm laying lines on top of each other. With this grayscale, what we really want is to not have a division between values. And what I mean by that is I don't want to see a line like down the middle. Like you say, okay, this part's going to be dark, this part's going to be medium gray, and this part's going to be light gray. I don't want to see a line. I want to see a nice blending of dark to light. So we're just going to go over top, and you see how the more lines I do over top of each other, and the more directions, you don't even see those pencil marks anymore. I'm going to go back in and work this some more cross-hatched lines over top. And I'm going to spread my lines out more as I get down to this end. And this is where I was talking about. At this point, you can just very lightly touch your paper. And that will also make it lighter for you. By the time I get over to that end, I'm just hardly touching it at all. So if we were in class, maybe I would break out some other weights of pencils. 2B is kind of the main one that we always use. It's a middle of the road pencil, and you can get some really nice values with it. You can get a darker gray with it, but there's other pencils that you should be aware of. One's called 6B, which is a much darker pencil. So the pencils go on a scale of an HB scale. It's called an HB scale. Hardness is it's hardness. I don't remember. Something like that. But it's an HB scale. The H's are lighter, so this would be H, like 6H. This might be 6B. The B's are darker. HB is right in the middle. And so 2B is about right here. And then you have 4B, you have 2H, 4H. It goes like that. And it's basically as you get more toward the H's, that's the harder. They get harder, and so the lines are lighter. As you get more toward the B's, the graphite is softer, so the lines are darker. That's all that it means. So if you ever see drawing pencils and you're like, I don't know what that means, that's all it means. So this is an actual drawing pencil. If you can see at the end, it says 2B. Let me grab some other ones that I might have. Two B are the yellow pencils that we always use in class. So that's just a number 2. Number 2 HB is the same thing as a 2B pencil. 2H, you can see on the end it says 2H. That's going to be a little bit lighter. We have a 6B, which is going to be a very dark, it's going to put down a very dark line. And a 4H is going to be lighter even than the 2H. So, but again, you can achieve really nice values just with a 2B pencil. And I'm just going over and over and over it again. Not pressing any harder, just going over it several times, back and forth in different directions. What I'm looking for here, friends, is just a really nice gradual shading from dark to light as best as you can. I try not to to show pencil lines. So we're going to go back and just try to go over those with more crosshatch lines to try to eliminate pencil lines. So I didn't use my eraser once with this. To get rid of lines, I'm going to go over them again in different directions. When you go over them in different, that's what I love about crosshatching. When you go over it in different directions, you eliminate the majority of any of those pencil lines. And then you can just go back over as much as you want. However you think it's going to make it look a nice blend from dark to light. Graphite lays in plates on top of the paper, and right next to each other like this, it goes down in plates, and then when you make it go over top of each other, it puts more plates on top. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that, so I'm just going to stop. This is going to be a nice way for you to figure out the pressure of your pencil and how many times you have to go over it to make a darker line or darker value, a darker area. I went over this a lot of times to make it really, really dark. And over here, I didn't go over it much at all. So keep that in mind, that it's the number of lines that you put over top of each other to give it darkness and not necessarily pressing harder. So I think that's it. This is my grayscale. Start with a rectangle and then just start filling it in. If I wanted to do one of the other techniques, I would just do the same thing, but maybe if I were doing the scribbling, I would do the same thing I just did, but instead of straight cross-hatching lines, I would do the circles connected together over and over and over again. And when I get down here, I'm not going to do many, and I'm going to touch the paper just ever so slightly. But as I get further down, I get more circles closer together over top of each other. You can make smaller circles that also gets a darker value than the bigger circles. Okay, so try some of these different techniques that we did the other day to make a grayscale, to practice making darker and lighter values with them. All right, hope you guys are doing well, and I can't wait to see you guys soon, hopefully. Bye-bye.